Hey there, Jeff Manchester, Manchester Music. Welcome to what I think is the 22nd Vodkast, a show I do once every 5 years where I talk about music, audio, mastering, mixing, composing, answering your questions about those things, of course, as they come in on vodkastpodcaster at gmail.com. Hashtag vodcast at Jeff Manch on Twitter, whatever way you want to connect with me, or in the comments. I read them all. And then I start crying and then I start drinking, but I read them all. So let's just jump into the very first question. This is a vodkaless vodcast. This is a Scotchcast instead. Bricklade is this one. It's really good though. Jeff, someone asks, you've been relegated to the cupboard, question mark. No. I was in Toronto, as most of you, I think, know. And then I came to Blottawa. But the reason for that was it was tough to continue being in a box in the sky on the 43rd floor of an apartment in City Place during COVID, where the elevators felt radioactive and it was just not a good situation for me or my fiance. That's new, my fiance. So we moved to Ottawa, where we have family, we have friends, we have connections, which makes it easier when you're family planning and stuff like that. So this is a stop. I am in my fiance's brother's old room. But hey, we're on the ground. There's a golden retriever. Everything is wonderful. I'm happy. I'm healthy. We're okay. Extremely lucky too. So we're good. I'm fine. But that's where I am. It's meant a couple changes though. Like I can't really put a MIDI keyboard here. And that means that I've been doing a lot more mixing and mastering, which I love. And I think I'm better at actually than composing. So I've been doing more of that and have been really enjoying it. And I think that will lead to more content around that activity, specifically mixing, because it's just something I love and have been away from for a while. And since my time away, a lot of really new fun tools have come out to make it even easier for people to mix. Soothe is one of them. I talked about it on the channel. There's so many more plugins coming out all the time that take an activity that was like, took a while and it just shortens that time so you can get back to more fun, creative stuff. So looking forward to talking to you guys all about that. Now, let's go to the next question, which comes to us from Jerry Robitaille. And he says, what type of music are you mixing? Real instruments, electronic dance, and hip hop? That's the thing, right? Do you want hype or do you want range? Your mix has to be done well. If the reviewers only do one type of music, they can't really say what everyone wants. So I'll be honest, Jerry, I don't get the second half of this question, but I do get the first half, which is what type of music are you mixing? Real instruments or electronic dance and hip hop? There's a lot that I mix, kind of whatever comes through the door. You don't really get to pick. Sometimes you might be known for something and I'm not anywhere near there. So you only mix one thing because everyone sends you like their hip hop track because you're like the hip hop guy or the rock guy or the whatever. But for me, I'm mixing a lot of rock and folk right now, which is fun because that means real instruments. Although it's tough for people to get together and be in a room and record stuff. So you'll find a lot of like real this and fake that. In my case, it's like real guitar. Not sure how you'd fake a guitar, but you can. Native Instruments has some good stuff. So real guitar and real voice, and then some fake drums because drums are just hard to record well. So fake drums, which sound great, and frankly, people are replacing real drums with all the time. So I am mixing mostly that kind of stuff, but in truth, I mix pretty much anything, and you should mix everything that you can because you get to learn how to apply some things that you might think might be restricted to one genre to another. You might get really good at low-end management, which is across genres. It's not just rock. Listen to a rock song like 21 Pilots or Imagine Dragons. You have influences from electronic, from hip-hop even, from trap, going into stuff in their music, and that means you're going to have to think about low-end management a lot. Even folk and stuff like it comes in now in the kick drum. It's all over the place. So it's really good to get your hands dirty with a lot of different stuff so that you can get better at mixing the kind of modern expectation of that genre at a mix level. And get good about like finding ways to manage low-end or high-end or whatever. So I'm doing a lot of that. The next question, yeah, sorry, I just don't get the whole like, do you want hyper range? I don't really understand that, but maybe you can follow up with me about what it means and we can answer it together. Let me just take a little sip here. Okay, the next question is hi, Jeff. I am new. He's new. This is from Secret Squirrel. I am new. Welcome. And use headphone monitors. By the way, looking for open back, set to mix, and welcome your recommendations. His questions, that's one question. Next question. Do you have any recommendations for rack-mounted headphone amps which allow me to zero in from some references and then dial in and mark my level knob so that I can stop guesstimating as I change my headphones of different impedances in and out of a single jack? The second question is, what do you recommend for convolution reverbs? I've been hearing Altiverb and R2, but I trust you and your judgments. Thank you. Secret. First of all, I recommend the Sennheiser 650s, HC 650s. They're just great. They're wonderful. They work for me, and they still work for me. I got to replace the cups because they're sweaty and gross and smell bad, but they're wonderful. If they smell bad, it's because I use them all the time. Especially now, I don't really have my focals set up, so I have to use whatever headphones. So these are the ones I use. I love them. They're open back. They're great. When they die out or when something happens, I will buy another pair of HD 650s by Sennheiser. They're wonderful. Recommendations for rack-mounted headphone amps. To be honest with you, Secret Squirrel, I don't. I'm not like I don't have like headphone amps and stuff. The headphone. I mean, my amp is a Apollo 8 by Universal Audio. It's not really an amp. It's more of like a audio interface with pre's and a bunch of other stuff. But that's what goes through. I do have to turn up my kind of loudness pot so I can hear the headphones, the stuff coming through them. So there's that. But I know a lot of people love, I think SSL makes, I might be confusing. This is how little I know about it. I think they make some stuff. Obviously, Neve, rest in peace. They make some amazing stuff. Another one that comes to mind is Neumann. I'm pretty sure they have some headphone amps that are really good. But when it comes to like rack mounted, blah, 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 like you're asking the wrong guy. I don't know, because I shove them in, and if I got to switch them out for like a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch or whatever, I'll plug it in and crank them up and I'm good to go. I know that they do impart some good things putting them into an amp, and some folks swear by them. I don't have unlimited funds to splurge on things like amps and things like that. So there might come a time when I do, and I will talk about that. But for now, I'm sorry, dude, I don't know. But Neve, Neumann, SSL, I'm sure they've got some really good stuff. And there's a whole bunch of other like audiophile, cork sniffy things out there, brands whose names I'm totally forgetting that might be good. So do some research. Sound on Sound seems like a place to start for headphone amps. Sweetwater has been doing a lot of videos on YouTube about like what should I get for this, that, or the other thing. They're more focused on like musicians and things, so I'm not sure they'd have a lot of headphone amp stuff, but just do some research, see what you find. Sound on Sound is a really good source for this kind of thing, I think. What do I recommend for convolution reverbs? Altiverb and R2. So just heads up, R2 is not a convolution reverb. It's an algorithmic reverb. It's great, and you could certainly simulate some environments as a convolution reverb might, and you can get away with that with R2 or R4, Nimbus, Stratus, Phoenix. All those guys are great. I use them all the time. I use them a lot, and I work at a company that actually has in its portfolio exponential audio products, which make R2 and all that stuff. So I know those plugins really well. I think they sound wonderful. For convolution stuff, Altiverb, like the fact that you already know who they are means that you're probably on a good path. They're amazing. They're expensive, but they're one of those get what you pay for. And reverb definitely is. People are picky about reverb, so I think there's like Liquid Sonics and things. I don't know all these other reverb companies because like I know a couple and I kind of stick to them. So for convolution-based stuff, Altiverb, you're on the right path. I would also add that your digital audio workstation, if you're in Logic, I think they have a convolution reverb that sounds pretty good. You can add your own impulse responses to it. Same thing with Ableton. I think it's a Max for Live patch for the convolution reverb, but you got that too. And whatever, I'm sure if you're in like Cubase or Studio One or whatever, you've got some convolution reverb thing in there, and I'm sure it's going to be really good. So you should be good to go. If you want to splurge, Altiverb is like the Cadillac, so go for that. I'm sure you'll be very happy. Hassan, He asked in a video that I was doing a top 5 sample libraries for now, the ones that I love. He said, "Are you using a sustain pedal?" I need an answer to this. Thank you very much, Hassan. I use a sustain pedal. I don't outsource the sustain functionality to any part of my MIDI keyboard I use my foot, so my hands can do what they got to do. And yeah, I do, and you should too if you like sustain pedals. You should use them. Okay, I saw both your videos, says Spencer Clark, on the Focal Shape 65s and the Atom A7Xs. I'm really struggling with that decision. What's your pick? Do you think some tweaks to the piercingness and brightness can be fixed, or is it just too much? There are times where I think the atoms actually hurt my ears, but I can't tell if it's in my head or a placebo effect. I just don't know. My holdup about the focals is that you were saying about how you need to make sure on headphones you're detecting sibilance. Such a tough call. What's your recommendation? Okay, so Spencer and everybody listening, I get these questions about monitors so much. And listen, I get it. COVID, it's tough. It was tough before to haul your butt into a store and listen to things and bug someone to let you A/B across different monitors. And maybe they didn't even have the ones that you want to do A/B and you're like, oh, I guess I have to go for this or whatever. COVID made it even tougher. But, speakers, monitors, loudspeakers, it's like buying a house. They're really expensive and you have to make sure that you're in love with them because they're going to be in your room every day and you're going to be listening to them every day. So if you don't like them, you're probably not going to be happy. So just think about that. This is an investment. What's it going to be like to use these every single day? It's like when I want an acoustic guitar. I still do. I probably want a Martin D12 or something like that. But I always ask my friends about is Gibson any good? Or how about like Siegel or whatever? And my friends who know a lot about guitars are like, Jeff, just get the Martin. You're going to be happier with it. You keep asking about all these other brands, just get a Martin. Go with the one you're going to be happiest with. So in your heart, Spencer, if you are feeling like you really want the focals or you want the atoms really deep down, but you're like, you heard me or whatever, and you're not really, go for the atoms or go for the focals. Go for what's going to make you happiest. Because again, it's a big investment. So you better be happy. It better be like a match made in heaven. I want these or whatever. I have talked so much about monitors, and I think it's because people keep asking me about monitors. I did one video, which is like beginner speakers or whatever. And that was one of the first ones that was like a viral video for this channel, which is great. And I did the A7s and I've done a few other ones, and people keep asking me about monitors, and on some level, I get it. It is tough to listen to them, but on another level, you should listen to me. I think, that's why I make videos, because I think I have something to say, but you shouldn't only listen to me. You should listen to a lot of other people, and you should listen to what's coming into your own ears. It's so important to, do research, watch a video like mine, watch a video like someone else's, but then go into a space where you can hear them, and you never really know how you feel about something until it happens to you. So you might have a perception because I told you or someone else told you, but then you listen for yourself and you're like, wow, that's not true. I really like these, or I don't like these, and everyone likes them. You have to develop your own kind of critical listening skills and your own sense of taste, because if you outsource all of that to people like me on a YouTube channel, then you don't know what you like. You don't know what's good or not good. It's a bad situation. So I'm thankful that you're watching this video, the videos that I've done in the past and everything. But the truth is, you have to develop your own kind of taste. And part of that means listening in a space. So do what you can to get into a space. If you can't, I guess I'd ask, would you buy a house that you've never been to, that you've never seen, walked around an agent with? Would you buy it? Probably not. So do what you can to get in the space. Get the speakers, just to extend this metaphor and torture it, get the speakers in your space and see if you can actually put them in your space and listen to something back in them. Because that's going to give you the ultimate representation of how you're really going to feel about something. It sounds like you know about the A7s, and that's really cool. It sounds like you know a little bit about the focals too, but take what I say with a grain of salt. See if you can really, really listen. These guys are great. I know Adam, I listen to, I know the guys in Germany anyway. They sound like really cool and reasonable. Focal too, they're really easy to deal with. If you don't like them, they're probably going to let you take them back or swap them out for something. Don't hold me to that. I don't work for any of those companies, but hopefully they're going to let you change your mind if you do. But you should be able to know enough to make up your mind and be solid about it. And having stuff in the room is just going to help with that decision a lot. And again, I'm sweating a lot because I'm very passionate. Listen to what I have to say, but don't just listen to what I have to say. That's not good. All right. Cosmic Musa says on a video I did for Melodyne, can I use Melodyne with whole track where all instruments and vocals are separated so I could do a remix? So he's referring to this video that I did on Melodyne where you can put a track in and Melodyne will listen and then tell you what the key is, what the BPM is, and what the chords are. And that's actually really helpful because if you're a composer and somebody's like, hey, can you like do a sound-alike thing and sound like this? You can listen and see what the chords are. And if you're not good with music like I am, music theory, you can see what they are and then kind of like, okay, copy and paste and borrow and move and remix. And you got something on, something real, something that's yours if you're really stuck and there's a deadline. So that's really cool. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think Melodyne is really good for source separation. They're kind of on the vanguard as a company with like DSP and cutting edge technology. But I don't think they tout Melodyne, Ceremony does anyway, as a source separation tool. I mean, I could tell you what I think is a good one. Surprise, surprise. RX by Isotope with Music Rebalance. I think it's good, better, much better, because I've tried to do source separation in Melodyne by, dragging and then muting certain things. I don't think it's built for that. So that's why it doesn't really sound good to me. It might sound good for you. You might do it, download a trial, Cosmic, and see if you like it and then go from there. But for me, it didn't really work. So there's others like Spleeter is open source and free, I think. Everybody's doing source separation now because people have figured it out with machine learning and stuff. So go try some things and see what works for you. Maybe Melodyne will, maybe it won't. I don't know. But I prefer other stuff. How is this mic, SM7B is the one he's talking about, on the video that I did for the SM7B. How is this mic with recording rap vocals? How is it for singing vocals? I have the Audio Technica one that he's moving on from. I'm looking to upgrade my mic soon. So, you got to be careful about people who say that this is a great mic for rappers or singers or whatever, because the truth is when you go to a studio, they'll have what's called like a mic locker, and they'll have hundreds of mics or dozens or whatever. They'll have more than one. And the reason is you might have, the mic that Elvis or Michael Jackson recorded on or something, but like it might not suit your singer or your singer's voice or whatever. It really is like speed dating. You want to try a bunch of different microphones and see which one matches the tonality and kind of presence of your singer. See what complements it. See what doesn't complement it. I'm sure you guys have heard like, oh, I always put like the 57 on the cab on my guitar, like, whatever. Like go try a different mic for yourself. That's a new classic start, right? When people kind of forget what everyone's saying about a certain mic and try something else. And then it's like, how'd you get that sound? So, I mean, that's kind of what I have to say about that. Microphones have their own tonal qualities too that are kind of consistent with anyone. So like, a dynamic microphone like the SM7B, I think uncontroversially is a bit darker, a bit more vintagey sounding. It dampens a lot of high frequency stuff. And that could be a good thing because maybe you want to dampen some sibilance. Maybe you want to dampen plosives. Maybe you want something you can sing into really loud. I mean, that's why people put dynamic mics on a kick drum because they can handle, high SPL levels. So maybe that's what you want. But that isn't to say that this mic is going to make everyone sound wonderful. There are some mics that, that help with that. But there's also downsides. So you could go for, the coveted, U87 or U67 or like a Neumann TLM 103, 104. And those are like really rich, bright microphones. But they might capture the sound of the room in a way you don't want, because they're really rich and bright and they can suck up a lot of energy. And, you'll hear the singer, but you'll hear like all these mouth clicks and you'll hear like something going on in the background and like, because it's picking everything up. It's very sensitive. So it might not be good. And you're having to like de-ess and you're having to de-harsh and de-brighten things, with a plugin or something like that. So that's not good. What you want to do is get a singer and then be able to say, here's a couple different microphones. Let's try a few and see what sounds good. It's manual, sure, but you can swap them out and see what it sounds like. I mean, that's why they have these mic emulations now, like Slate and Townsend. They'll do those things where you can swap out different microphones on the fly. I haven't listened to a lot of them because I don't record a lot of acoustic stuff. I'm mostly in post and mixing and stuff. But that's what I would say. It's like, you see everyone with these microphones and they're pretty good. I happen to like it and to get one and to try it. So I made a video on it, but you can still rent microphones from your Guitar Center or at least in Canada, Long and McQuaid will let you rent them just like save up some money and try like 5 different ones, and then if you like one and you've got your singer and you're going to work with that singer or rapper, or you yourself are one, then you're like, great, I tried 5 different microphones. This is one that sounds the best. But do yourself a favor and buy a couple more just to have them. They could be cheap, they could be expensive, but just so you have some range, some different flavors, so that when you get someone else in the studio and you're like, let's try a couple different combinations, you can settle on one that sounds amazing and maybe you didn't see it coming. So that would be my recommendation. Next question, and the last one, from MIHAO. It sounds like Mihao, but I don't know. Anyway, Mihao asks, Pro R versus Neoverb. What do you say, Mr. Manchester? So Pro R by Fab Filter, Neoverb by Isotope. I guess what I'd say is I politely decline to take the bait. I work for Isotope. I love working for Isotope, and it feels weird to recommend one plugin over another on this channel. It's just not a good feeling. So download a trial and see which one you like, Mihao, because I'm sure your ears are awesome and you know what you want out of a reverb. And think about how the reverb sounds. And if you are still unsure, then think about, well, how easy is it for me to control the sound of it? I mean, a lot of people love to put EQs before and after reverbs. A lot of people love to freeze reverb in a creative kind of sonic way, or a lot of people like to be able to, really get into the fine tuning and dampen stuff, or change the room size, or swap out different kind of, I want a room, or I want a chamber, or I want a plate, or I want a this or that or whatever. So just, and if you're still not sure, then, I don't know. But Pro R is, it's revered, it's loved. I'm not going to add any superlatives or color to Neoverb. You can go out and read stuff. It feels strange for me to start doing that. But I've heard great things about both reverbs, Mihao, and you should take a listen for yourself and see what you think. Anyway, that will do it for this vodcast. I'm trying to get them done in under 30 minutes because that's how long my Sony can record for. And I think I managed to do that. So if you have a question, vodkastpodcaster@gmail.com, @JeffManch on Twitter, #vodcast. It'll take some time, but I will probably answer your question if I haven't already answered it before. And if I have, I might have forgotten and I'll make a video or answer it again. So leave some questions. I read all the comments. And like I said earlier, start crying and then start drinking. But it was great to connect with you again. And let's do it more. Bye.